Hello, welcome to the flax tutorial. My name's Tina and this is the final part, and because we're not going to be doing anything we haven't already done, I thought it might be fun and a little bit easier for me if I did a face-to-face chatty tutorial instead of just showing my hands and doing it, because it has been quite difficult with the size of the garment to be round a tripod. So I thought it might be quite nice to, like I say, just have a chatty one where we talk through it and what we're going to be doing. So on this part we are going to be doing the sleeves, so that's the final thing we need to do, because you should have so far, just to run through in case you're on the wrong video, we started off at the neck, we've come all the way down and we've done the rib at the bottom and cast off. So now what we need to do is the sleeves that we've got on waste yarn. So what we need to do is take our, whoops, lost my needle minder. So the next part is to do the sleeves. So we want the sleeves to be the same gauge as the body, but I'm going to use a shorter needle, one that goes round your arm. So I can just go round and round and round. So you can use DPNs or you can use magic loop with the longer ones if you prefer. But I would really recommend to try the smaller ones, because it is just so easy to do it with these ones. So I am going to be using those. As I say, it's a 5mm needle that I used for the rest of the sweater. So we're just going to, first of all, this is where we see if it works. So where you've got those stitches on there, we're just going to put your needle through those stitches. What we're doing is just picking up those stitches by just going through like that all the way around. So that's all I'm doing. So keep that piece on that's holding them all together until they're secure on this needle, because there's no point taking it out and it all comes off and you've got all these live stitches. It's best to just get them on this first. They might be a little bit tight, you might have to do a little bit of a wiggle, but they should go on fine, because remember you've got that extra yarn in that space as well. It's just not the needle going through. So we're just going to thread all those around. Then I have chosen another ball of yarn to start a fresh ball, and I've chosen one that sort of carries on because mine's striped, so you won't have that if you're doing a one colour one, but I think it's nice to try and carry on with the same pattern of the stripes. The stripes of course are going to be different because the stripe it's going to be going through a smaller space, so my stripes are going to be bigger down the arms than they are on the body, so it's not going to follow along. I just thought, so it blends in where I've got this colour, I'm starting off with the orange which comes after that one, so I thought that'd be nice just to start off in a good place and then just see what develops, really, see what happens. So I've nearly come to the end, that's it, I'm all on. So I should make sure that you've got plenty of gaps so they're not going to come off, and then just take your scissors and just snip it. I usually snip it in the centre as well, making sure you're not snipping anything you don't want to snip. And then just pull that waste yarn out. So literally it should just come straight out like that. And then we can, using a fresh ball as I say, we're just going to carry on there. So we are following the instructions from page no name. I take it's page 5. So following on page 5, we're at the top of there for the sleeves if you'd like to follow the instructions along. So we're going to knit around these stitches and then we need to pick up some stitches. So literally we're just going to just put our needle through for knit stitch, and I literally just start knitting, just put that over the top to make your first stitch, and then holding that loose piece tight, then just carry on knitting. So that's what I mean about showing you just my hands, that you've done so much knitting now that I just thought it might be a little bit more interesting if we can have a little chat together. So just going to take it round here. And I've completely forgotten all the things I was going to chat about, as is the case. I have just made a video and talked about some of my plans for the tutorials, so I shall put a link below if you missed that one and wanted to see what's coming up. So we will be starting some new videos soon. These sleeves shouldn't take too long to do. And then we should be starting out. We're going to be doing a memories blanket for people that have got sock yarn leftovers. And we're also going to be doing a shawl. So those are the next 2 things that will be coming up. Or if you fancy doing another garment, we've got the Christmas jumper, the stag jumper, coming up as well in late September, I think that will be. If you fancy knitting another sweater, a lady's sweater for Christmas time, that's not a tin hand knit, so it's just the ladies. There's no children's version on that one, I'm afraid. But it is a nice pattern. It's more of a winter pattern rather than a Christmas pattern. So it means that you can wear it throughout December and January. It's not just for a few days over Christmas, because that's a big thing to do, a completely Christmas jumper just for a few days. I'm sorry if I'm talking a little funny or my eyes look a bit weird, but I'm on tablets for, I've got an infection in my tooth, so yeah, I'm struggling a bit with that. So if I look a bit different to normal, that's why. I'm fine. I've just got some quite strong tablets I'm on, and they are just knocking me out a bit. I could fall asleep. Right, so we've knit all the way around, so they're entirely on that needle now. So it says, for my size, I need to pick up 4 stitches. So all we're going to do is where in the middle there, between those, you've got those stitches there. All we're going to do, because this is going to be halfway, so if you see where halfway is, and then you've just got to pick up 4. So literally where it just loops, I'm under the camera, so you're just picking them up along there, just literally hooking them across that top, and then we shall knit across those ones. And then we're going to place a marker, because that's the halfway down side, and then we're literally going to be picking up 4 more, so literally just hooking it under those top cast off stitches. And then just knitting across there, those 4. So I have increased 8 stitches underneath like we did before, just to give that extra room for the sleeve. It's the ones that you missed really. Do you remember when we cast off those stitches for the sleeves, and then when we picked it up we had to pick up 4 again, we had to pick up some again? We're just doing that same just to close that gap up. So now we need to, so then we need to just carry on knitting round to that marker again. Oh, in the wrong place. So I think moving forward with the tutorials I am going to change them slightly, because as I say we are going over things now, so I think I might do them in a more edited version. So things that don't need explaining, I should just be explaining things that do, and see how that goes. I think it depends really. I should see the pattern and what's needed, but I'm thinking about coming away from showing every single thing, because the standard of knitter that you are now, you don't need that. So maybe do the pieces that need doing, and then maybe just, yeah, or talk about, have more chatty ones where if you've got questions, perhaps we can do a question and answer session while we're doing it. So it could be a bit of both. We could have questions of knitting things that you don't understand, we can talk about while we're doing things. That might make it more interesting. I just don't want to be going over the same thing all the time, just to show you one little part that you need to make a 20-minute video that you're not interested in the rest of it. Whereas I think maybe if I have some questions, viewer questions, then yeah, it would answer anything that hasn't been covered, or just terminology. Is there things that knitters say that you just don't understand what they're talking about? And so there's probably lots of things that are straightforward, but you just haven't cottoned on to what it's about, and it just, yeah, the mysteries, that's what I'm thinking of. Because there's always mysteries in everything, and then when you find out, you think it's something really, I don't know, exciting or something really hard, and then when it's explained to you, you think, oh, is that all it is? I can do that. So, yeah, perhaps we should do some questions and answers. Because if I've got the questions beforehand, I'll be able to find out the answers if I don't know. Because there's going to be questions I don't know, because knitting is changing all the time. Like this knitting in the round, I started off knitting flat, and it's only been in the past few years I've started to knit in the round. I'm an old school knitter, so all the new things that they're doing, things like brioche, I'd never heard of brioche before knitting podcasts. It's not something I would like to do. I don't really, I just it's just not of interest to me. I quite like, because I do other crafts, I don't feel that I want to really push myself with my knitting. My knitting is more of an evening relaxing time, not so much of learning everything. Whereas I think if it was just the craft that I did, I'd want to be learning different things and different techniques and building, because, to keep it fresh. But I'm just happy just making garments and doing what I want to do at the moment. So I have come round to the beginning again, and so okay, so after this it gives you your stitch count, so you can check your stitch count to make sure you've got enough stitches on there. If you've got too many stitches, then just knit 2 together underneath the arm. If you haven't got enough, then look to see where the gaps are under the arm and pick one up from there. And then you've just got to knit in the round until the sleeve measures, for my case, I've got to do 7 inches from the underarm, and then it will be we'll be doing the decreases. So all the decreases is before and after your stitch marker as usual. So before the stitch marker, we're just going to be doing the one we've done a lot. So we're just going to do the slip slip knit. So literally where's the camera? Get my hands out the way. Get my big fingers out the way. So we're literally going to be slip one, and then knit those 2 together to make 1 stitch out of 2. And then when you go all the way around before the next marker, we're literally going to be knitting 2 together, I think. Yes, so when you come back to the marker on the decrease row, you're just going to knit 2 together. That's all there is to it for the decreases. So, and just carry on down, just follow the instructions for what the decreases are. Keep an eye on your stitch count, and then when you come to the cuff, when you've measured your arm, so decide how long you want yours to be. And just like doing the body, you just need to take off, find out how long you want your sleeve to be, take away 4 inches for that cuff, and then you just need to change to your smaller size needle. Once again, I've got the Diddy ones. Just change the small ones and start just knitting. But this time, to do the garter, because when we were doing the rib, we were going backwards and forwards. So I keep calling it a rib. It's not a rib, it's the garter. When we were doing, what are they calling it? They are calling it the... So when you come to the cuff garter, you change to your smaller needles. So the next size down, but shorter ones, so you can use them for going round the wrist. But whereas doing the garter stitch cuff at the bottom, you did just knit, because you knit on both sides because you were knitting flat. This time you're going to be knitting in the round, which means you need to do 1 knit row and 1 purl row, which it tells you here. So it's very simple, and you just do a knit row and a purl row for your 4 inches. And then you just cast off exactly like you did for the bottom of the cardigan. So that's it. Very simple, very easy and straightforward. As always, if you do have any questions, because I've whizzed through this, then please just ask me below and I shall get back to you. But there's nothing in the sleeves that you've not done part of the rest of the body, so you will be fine. So I have every confidence in you, and looking forward to seeing some of your pictures of your cardigans. You will see my end result. I am going to try and do some more show and tell knitting videos where I'm showing what I'm knitting, so you will see the end result of mine. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it, and I think I will be making another one. I quite fancy making perhaps one in the same yarn but in grey. I think that would be useful for the winter. That will go with a lot of things. So I want to really thank you for joining in with these knit alongs. It's been fantastic having your company, and it's really rewarding for me knowing that people are doing their first garments and loving it, and that's at the beginning of their journey of branching into anything they want to do. So thank you so much, and take care, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye for now.